So you're looking to hire in Turkey. On the surface, payroll seems pretty straightforward, right? But what if I told you the biggest risks to your business have nothing to do with the actual paycheck? Today, we're going to break down why Turkish payroll is so much more than just processing payments. It's about protecting your entire company.
It seems like it should be a simple question, doesn't it? But the answer is a definite, resounding no. In Turkey, thinking of payroll as just an administrative task is the first mistake. It's actually a critical business function with some really serious implications.
First and foremost, payroll is about compliance. It's all about navigating a really strict legal framework where tiny details can have huge consequences. And a huge part of that is managing your tax risk. Because in this environment, a simple miscalculation isn't just a small fine. Oh no, it can open up your entire operation to significant tax exposure.
So when you boil it all down, it really comes to one single thing: protection. Getting payroll right isn't just about good paperwork. It's the shield that protects your company, your directors, and your entire investment from some pretty serious financial and legal trouble.
And this brings us to this big gap we see all the time. The gap between what international companies think payroll's like and the reality of what it's actually like on the ground here. So let's pull back the curtain and see what's really involved. You know, the first reality check is the legal framework itself. There's no single, simple rule book. Instead, payroll is caught in this complex web of interlocking laws, from labor law and Social Security to income tax rules. Honestly, navigating this is a very specialized skill.
And then let's talk about the financial reality. That gross salary you happily agreed on, that's just the starting line. You need to tack on another 25 to 40% on top of that for mandatory contributions. Yeah, that's a huge budget item that catches so many foreign companies completely by surprise.
And this isn't some one-time setup. It is a precise, high-stakes monthly cycle. You've got the gross to net calculations, multiple declarations to different authorities, and all the documentation to back it up. Every single step has to be perfect every single month. One small slip-up can trigger penalties that just stack up over time.
So what happens when companies underestimate all this complexity? Well, as you can probably guess, it often leads to a whole series of costly mistakes and some pretty significant business risks.
This right here is the root cause of almost every problem we see. The single biggest mistake is assuming that the rules you know from back home apply here. They absolutely do not. And that false assumption is basically a doorway to some very, very expensive errors.
And here are just a few of the greatest hits we see all the time. Improper registration, trying to classify employees as contractors, or completely missing out on available government incentives. Each one of these seems like a small detail, but they all carry a hefty financial or legal penalty. Now, here is the takeaway that you really need to hear. These aren't just annoying administrative headaches. In Turkey, payroll mistakes can, and do, escalate to create personal, director-level liability. That means the risk moves right off the company's books and lands squarely on the shoulders of its leadership.
Okay, I know we've outlined some pretty serious risks, but there is a clear path forward. The right solution is all about shifting your mindset, from thinking about payroll as simple processing to seeing it as a strategy that's focused on compliance.
This slide really nails a key distinction. In ordinary payroll service, they just process data. You give them numbers, they spit out payslips. But a strategic service acts like a true advisor. They're focused on proactive compliance, on finding ways to optimize incentives, and on actively managing your risk.
So a strategic service goes way beyond just the monthly math. It brings in forward-looking elements like planning for severance pay and finding those valuable incentives. It includes HR compliance advice and, absolutely crucial for international teams, it delivers clear, easy-to-understand reporting in English, so management always knows exactly what's going on.
So let's talk for a moment about what this kind of strategic approach actually looks like in the real world, especially for an international company that's facing some pretty unique challenges in the Turkish market.
You see, specialized expertise is absolutely key. We focus specifically on foreign-owned companies, on tech startups, software studios, and remote-first businesses because your needs are different. You're dealing with rapid growth, maybe equity compensation, and cross-border HR policies. Your compliance risks just aren't the same as a traditional local company. And here's a vital connection that often gets missed. Hiring someone in Turkey isn't just an HR decision. It is a corporate tax decision. It can actually put you at risk of creating a permanent establishment, which could suddenly trigger major tax liabilities for your parent company. This means your payroll solution has to be integrated with high-level tax advice.
This quote really gets to the heart of our entire philosophy. We just don't see payroll as some mundane back-office routine. We treat it for what it truly is, a critical compliance and risk management function that's there to protect the very core of your business.
So look, if you take just one thing away from our chat today, let it be this. Payroll in Turkey is never, ever just processing. It is strategy, it is compliance, and most importantly, it is protection.
And that brings us to our final question for you. When you look at your own operations, whether you're here already or just planning to be, the most important thing to ask yourself is this: is my payroll structure just a routine, or is it a strategic function that is truly protecting my business?